ATIDI helps exporters and importers to access
of impact to come. We are confidence for investors, governments, and business across the continent, turning risk into opportunity and vision into tangible growth. Tonight, we pause to celebrate the legacy and to look ahead of the next chapter of impact to come. We are honored to be joined this evening by ministers, ambassadors, members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industry, partners from across Africa and beyond, gathered here in Nairobi to mark a remarkable anniversary together. For context, we start off with a video that highlights ATIDI's journey. Also to recognize the presence of Mr. Manuel Moses, CEO ATIDI, who will also be making some remarks. But for now, let us have the video.
In a fast-changing world, risk is changing fast too. The time has come to rethink. As the lingering effect of COVID-19 and the conflict in Ukraine unfolds on African economies, new financial instruments are needed for such evolving risks. Africa's trade and financing gap must be closed too. Collaboration between the public and private sector will be vital to drive the supply of trade credit insurance for the continent. Accelerating developmental impact also remains top of the agenda and will require expertise, innovative thinking, and commitment to this mandate. Risk profiles are changing, investor needs are changing, we are changing. Whilst we continue to deliver trade and investment insurance, we have also developed new financial solutions to help open up new areas of finance. Increasingly, product innovation is taking center stage. Our solutions to safeguard and bolster trade and investment have come to the fore. We now uniquely facilitate effective trade and investment delivery in Africa. Our evolution, our unique product suite, our increased relevance and commitment to Africa's development, all reflected in our new name, ATIDI, African Trade and Investment Development Insurance, and our new brand promise, Rethinking Risk, Enabling Finance. We are rethinking risk through innovative risk mitigation and financial interventions, and enabling finance by opening up new avenues and solutions for trade and investment on and for the continent. Enhancing growth potential for corporates, confidence for investors, and economic development for Africa. With our innovative solutions across trade credit and political risk insurance, and our work in highly structured transactions, including co-insurance, reinsurance, and guarantees. But what makes ATIDI unique? We are the truly holistic risk solution for Africa, with expertise developed over the last 20 years, unparalleled understanding of African markets, tailored solutions enabling us to guide the way Africa's risk is perceived, an innovation mindset with creativity, flexibility, and adaptability at our core, and a reputation for responsiveness, driven by our multilateral status and strategic relationships across the public and private sectors, all combining to help us deliver a range of benefits for Africa and all our stakeholders. ATIDI supports the economic development of its member states with solutions including alternatives to sovereign guarantees as well as trade credit insurance, helping them to maintain sustainable national debt, aid inward investment through lowered financing costs, and stimulate private sector growth with increased lending. ATIDI inspires confidence for investors, helping them to tap into the African opportunity by de-risking investments and enhancing project security via preferential relationships with governments and decision makers. ATIDI assists commercial banks to confidently expand their operations, providing a wide range of risk mitigation and solutions to streamline their operations, free up capital, and enhance their competitiveness. ATIDI helps exporters and importers to access and expand into new markets by protecting them against non-payment and aiding business growth through access to working capital on a credit basis. ATIDI helps to smoothen business operations and fuel growth potential for manufacturers and contractors, safeguarding them against payment challenges, contract cancellations, and affording flexibility in payment by assuming credit risk. And last but not least, ATIDI's product range and capacity offers insurers and brokers enhanced competitiveness, helping them to extend their product range and benefit from remuneration as part of our broker program. Ultimately, ATIDI operates to build confidence in trade and investment de-risking and delivery, to shape finance to unlock the growth potential of investments, and to reimagine the approach to risk in Africa and prevailing perceptions of the continent through our specialist solutions, helping us to ensure effective trade and investment delivery, enable the finance that stakeholders seek, and support the development and growth of the continent. ATIDI, African Trade and Investment Development Insurance, rethinking risk, enabling finance.
A clap for that video and also for ATIDI. With your kind permission, Your Excellency, allow me to now call on Mr. Manuel Moses, CEO ATIDI, to make some brief opening remarks. Can we welcome him with a warm clap, please? Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, President William Ruto, John Mbadi, Minister of Finance, our Governor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, ministers from across the continent, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Allow me to wish you all a warm welcome to our annual general meeting and to this gala dinner. I want to start by expressing my sincere gratitude to Your Excellency President William Ruto for hosting us here at State House. This is a first for our organization. Thank you very much. I am personally overwhelmed by your unwavering support for our organization and in general African financial institutions. You have been a pillar of championing the AMFI institutions. Thank you again. Kenya has been hosting us since 2001 when we were formed and has hosted the annual general meeting in 2013 and in 2017, where Your Excellency actually opened our annual general meeting as Vice President then. So this is the second time you're opening another annual general meeting for ATIDI. Since you assumed office as President, you have not stopped supporting our institutions. You have actually given it even more momentum. We have seen you in action in all the forums, either at the African Union, at the United Nations, and any forum in TICAD, everywhere you are advocating for our institutions to say African financial institutions need to be supported, and you are leading from the front. I can testify that. Asante sana. More recently, since you've gotten a new burst of energy from my brother, Dr. Sidi Ulta, who is also a champion of African economic development. His CV is impeccable. When you look at what he has done at Badea and before at ISEC, and more recently at the African Development Bank. So we have two enormous champions leading African institutions. So thank you again, Dr. Sidi. Dr. Sidi has come with a very brilliant idea. I don't know why we did not think of it before. It was always in our sight. We did not connect it. He realized that what Africa lacks is not capital. What Africa lacks is not more money, but the money is actually here. And he created this vision, which he is now calling NAFAD. NAFAD has always been with us in plain sight, but we could not see it. But through his vision, he has managed to connect it and say, if we look at our investments, our savings sitting in our banks, in our asset managers, in our pension funds, there is enough, about $4 trillion of money in the continent that is sitting idle. And his idea under NAFAD is to connect that money to investable opportunities. And that's the promise of NAFAD. So thank you, Dr. Sidi, for that brilliant vision. And ATIDI will be with you as we execute on that. Why did we choose ATIDI? I think the model of ATIDI is very simple. It's basically, it manages to leverage money, mobilize capital at scale. Every dollar of capital put in ATIDI, we are able to multiply 10 times, thanks to partners in this room who are our reinsurers, who help us to leverage every dollar 10 times. So thanks again to the reinsurers in the room for supporting us, and we want your support as we execute on this NAFAD vision. Now, under the NAFAD, we hope that we will be able to get the mobilization of $400 billion. $400 billion in the $4 trillion I mentioned is nothing. So if we can connect with our instruments, giving guarantees to the pension funds, to the savings accounts, through our guarantees, we can tap into that $400 billion we are looking for. It's really 4 or 5% of the $4 trillion that is already sitting here. Mr. President, you have been our champion for many years. At the recent France Africa Forward Summit, we saw the announcements. You singularly took our message and said, ATIDI is the choice of guarantee platform under NAFAD. Thank you for making that promise. And we saw the declaration. You did not stop there. You went one more step. You went to France together with President Macron, President Sidi, to tell the G7 and say, we have identified our Pan-African guarantee platform. Africa should not be treated as an unequal, but we are coming here not to beg, but to say, we have our vehicle, can you back our vehicle, and we can trade as equals. And the G7 and President Macron also endorsed that. Thank you again, President. What has been ATIDI doing in Kenya? So why is ATIDI important? I know you probably know already, Mr. President, but I wanted the rest of the audience to know our history with Kenya. Since 2000, Kenya has been our gracious host. We have been hosted by Kenya Re, and I think the president of Kenya Re is here somewhere. Thank you for hosting us for 26 years and continue to host us. They have been very gracious, and Kenya has been leading this institution, shepherding it until we are now a $10 billion company. So thank you to Kenya. I'll mention a few projects that we've done in Kenya. You might know about the largest wind project in Africa, Lake Turkana Wind Power. You would know that ATIDI insured it. You might also know about the second largest wind project in Africa, which is the Kipeto project. Also ATIDI enabled it. These are the type of things that we do in Kenya. If we add all our renewable energy projects in Kenya, they add up to $580 80 megawatts. This is the kind of intervention we're doing in just clean energy. And we are proud that Kenya is a leading example of renewable energy. We also were with you when Safaricom was going to Ethiopia. We backed Safaricom together with our brothers from Nexi, I hope they're in this room, to say how can Safaricom be de-risked to go into Ethiopia at a time when it was very difficult. There was conflict going on in Ethiopia. ATIDI was there with you. We are also with you here in Kenya. When you look at all your M-Pesa transactions, behind it, there's an ATIDI guarantee that is backing the M-Pesa. This is the kind of things that we are doing in country. We are also with you on the affordable housing. Advance payment guarantees that you are giving to your contractors need a counter guarantee to give the government the comfort that if the contractor does not pay, the government is safe. We are giving our guarantees to support the affordable housing program. Again, if we add all our interventions since 2000, all our interventions in Kenya, they total 1 trillion shillings. Amazing. Or $8 billion. So this is really what we are doing in Kenya, and we want to do more. Under NAFAD, we will do more. We'll be here for Kenya today. We'll be here for Kenya tomorrow. We want to support you. We want to support the idea of the infrastructure fund that you have inaugurated. In fact, I was here when you signed the bill. So thank you. We have a role to play in that under NAFAD. So really, I can go on and on and on and say, Kenya is our host. Kenya will always be our host. We are here for you, and we want to be partners to make sure that we economically empower the people of Kenya and of Africa. Long live Kenya. Thank you very much. Mr. President, if you were to give us a bill of all you have done, I don't know how we could pay you.
Another round of applause for Mr. Manuel Moses, CEO ATIDI. With your permission, Your Excellency, allow me to now call on Professor Kelly Moore Kingsley, Chair of the Board of Directors ATIDI, to make his remarks. Let me also call on Emmanuel Mwamba, who will help with a brief interpretation into French. I understand we have quite a number of Francophone speakers. Therefore, Emmanuel, please come so that you'll summarize the speech after he has spoken. Welcome, sir.
You know, after Manuel, I always have to adjust the microphone in size because he adjusts it in height. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, I took time to practice so that I don't distort the name, President of the Republic of Kenya, distinguished shareholders, representatives of member states and institutional shareholders, development partners, members of diplomatic corps, members of the board of directors of ATIDI, our chief executive officer, Mr. Manuel, and the management team of ATIDI, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good evening once more. On behalf of the board of directors, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome you to Nairobi for this gala dinner, making the opening of our 26th annual general meeting. Allow me first and foremost to express our deepest gratitude once more to His Excellency for hosting us graciously this evening in this distinguished setting. Your Excellency, your generosity that Manuel has not stopped emphasizing reflects far more than hospitality. It is a powerful affirmation of Kenya's enduring commitment to regional cooperation, African institutions, and shared prosperity of our continent. As one of ATIDI's founding member states and gracious host since inception, Kenya has remained a steadfast partner, demonstrating how visionary leadership and strong institutions can mobilize investment, strengthen resilience, and accelerate sustainable development. For this unwavering partnership, we extend our sincere appreciation once more. We're equally grateful to the government and the people of Kenya for their warm welcome and exceptional hospitality throughout this important week in ATIDI's journey. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening is much more than the opening of an annual general meeting. It is a celebration of partnership, a celebration of trust. And above all, we celebrate the celebration of a shared belief in Africa's limitless potential. We are privileged to be joined by representatives from member states this evening, shareholders, development finance institutions, and diplomatic community. Private investors and strategic partners are not left out, whose collective commitment has helped shape ATIDI into one of Africa's most respected mutual financial institutions. As we prepare for our formal deliberation in the coming days, tonight offers a valuable opportunity to strengthen relationships, reflect on how far we have come, and renew our collective commitments to Africa's future. This year carries particular significance as ATIDI celebrates 25 years, a quarter of a century of impact. It is a moment to honor the vision of our founders, celebrate the confidence of our shareholders and partners, and recognize the dedication of everyone who has contributed to this remarkable journey. Over the past quarter century, ATIDI has evolved from a bold African vision into a globally respected institution that has facilitated billions of dollars in trade and investments, strengthened investor confidence, and contributed meaningfully to economic transformation across member states. If capital is the engine of development, confidence is the fuel. That is where ATIDI has found its unique purpose. We do not merely mitigate risk, we create confidence. And where confidence grows, investors follow. Where investors flow, economies flourish. And where economies flourish, lives are transformed. This is the unique value that ATIDI brings to Africa and to the global investment community. The impact of this work is increasingly recognized beyond our continent. We were honored that His Excellency President William Ruto highlighted ATIDI at the G7 summit, like Manuel has emphasized, and that our institution was also recognized at the G7 Leader Declaration on Mutually Beneficial International Partnership. Thank you, Your Excellency. This recognition belongs not only to ATIDI, but to Africa itself. It demonstrates that African institutions are increasingly shaping global conversations on investments, resilience, and sustainable development. While we are proud of this recognition, we remain even more conscious of the responsibilities it places upon us. As an African proverb reminds us, the one who climbs a good tree always gets a push. Our partners have helped us climb. It is now our responsibility to reach even higher heights. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa stands today at one of the most promising moments of its history. Across infrastructure, energy, agriculture, manufacturing, digital innovation, trade and industrialization, the foundations of long-term prosperity are being laid. Yet ambition alone does not attract investments. Confidence does. Institutions do, and partnerships do. That is precisely where ATIDI continues to make its greatest contribution. By reducing risk, strengthening investor confidence, and mobilizing private capital, we help transform promising ideas into bankable projects, strategic investments, and lasting development. Over the coming days, our discussions will focus on how we can deepen this impact and ensure that ATIDI remains at the forefront of Africa's economic transformation. I am confident that the decisions we take during this annual general meeting will strengthen our institution and reinforce our contribution to the prosperity of our member states. Before I conclude I must. Allow me to express my sincere appreciation to our shareholders, development partners, clients, and stakeholders for their continued confidence and support. I also wish to recognize my fellow board members, our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Manuel, and the entire ATIDI team, whose professionalism, dedication, and commitment continue to advance our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying that great institutions are built by chance. They are built by shared purpose. Tonight, we celebrate that shared purpose. We celebrate partnership. We celebrate trust. We celebrate Africa's resilience. But above all, we celebrate Africa's future. Your Excellency, thank you once again for your gracious hospitality, and to the people of Kenya. May I wish you all a memorable evening, fruitful deliberations, and highly successful 2026 General Assembly. God bless you all.
Chers francophones, nous allons faire un résumé du discours qui a été fait ici. Le conférencier a pu s'apaisantir du protocole déjà établi, en commençant par son Excellence, Monsieur le Président du Kenya, son Excellence Samuel Ruto. Et puis il a pu remercier, il a dit au nom du conseil d'administration, il a passé ses remerciements, d'abord pour être invité ici, mais aussi pour ce que le Kenya a été durant les ans, parce que le Kenya dirige ses parcours des investissements africains de manière durable. Il y a ici des remerciements pour des parties prenantes, et de membres de développement, les représentants gouvernementaux ainsi que tous les clients. ATIDI célèbre son jubilé d'argent, c'est-à-dire 25 ans, un quart de donc son jubilé d'argent, et il continue à porter du capital pour des pays africains. Et parmi les grands atouts que ATIDI a, c'est la confiance. Parce que si les gens ont la confiance, ils peuvent investir. Quand ils investissent, ils peuvent être autonomisés. Et quand les gens sont autonomisés, ils peuvent devenir prospères. Deuxièmement, il y a eu des remerciements, une fois de plus, à son Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République du Kenya, pour son plaidoyer dans la réunion de Africa Forward Summit. Il a dû parler des investissements africains par des Africains, et de cela, il a pu mentionner ATIDI comme l'un des institutions importantes. Et troisièmement, il y a eu des remerciements pour des partenariats stratégiques, et ainsi que tous les parties prenantes, les conseils d'administration d'ATIDI, et des derniers remerciements une fois de plus à son Excellence, Monsieur le Président du Kenya. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur. Your Excellency, with your permission, it is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Sidi Olta, President of the Africa Development Bank, AFDB. Why don't we welcome him with a warm, warm clap? Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, honorable ministers, senior government officials, member of the diplomatic corps, my dear brother Moses Manuel, CEO of ATIDI, my dear brother Tadesse, President of TDB, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to join you tonight as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of ATIDI. This is a remarkable milestone that reflects a quarter century of commitment to strengthening Africa's resilience, reducing investment risk, and mobilizing capital for the continent's development. Over the past 25 years, ATIDI has grown into one of Africa's most important financial institutions, helping to unlock investment, support trade, and reinforce confidence in African market. This is an opportunity for me to thank President William Ruto, not only for hosting ATIDI, but also for championing the new African Financial Architecture for Development, NAFAD. Excellency, Mr. President, with your friend, President Emmanuel Macron of France, you helped to elevate this initiative onto the global stage. First here in Nairobi during the Africa Forward Summit last May, and more recently in Evian at the G7 Summit. We are grateful, President. Let me also thank Your Excellency for your strong support for the new ATIDI. You are leading by example. Your decision to increase your participation in the capital of ATIDI is a great testimony of your leadership and your support to the new ATIDI 2.0. Your leadership also has given this initiative decisive political momentum and unprecedented international visibility. It has shifted the conversation from how much Africa should be financed to how Africa should finance its own transformation. So thank you, Mr. President. The challenge before us is not a lack of capital or opportunities, but a persistent mispricing of the African risk. And this is leading to excessive cost of capital in the continent. This is why the African Development Bank Group is evolving from a traditional project financier to a catalyst for markets. We want to be the solution bank for the Africa we want. Excellency Mr. President Ruto, Kenya has once again demonstrated leadership, not only in advancing the NAFAD agenda, but also as the host country of a key shareholders of ATIDI. You are the largest non-institutional shareholder of ATIDI. This exemplifies an Africa that is strengthening its own institutions to better mobilize capital for its own development. Under the new African Financial Architecture for Development, NAFAD, our ambition is clear: to unlock Africa's capital by combining domestic and international resources while strengthening our financial sovereignty and our financial institutions. Within this architecture, ATIDI plays an indispensable role. The African Development Bank Group has recently decided to increase its participation in the capital of ATIDI 5-fold. Becoming the largest institutional shareholder of ATIDI. But not only that, we are also mobilizing our partners to provide support to African countries who are not yet members of ATIDI to join ATIDI and to help them to pay for their participation in the capital of ATIDI. The African Development Fund also will provide resources to low-income African countries to join ATIDI. Together with ATIDI and through guarantee and blended finance, we are demonstrating that every dollar of public finance can mobilize significantly more private capital for infrastructure. $1 can make $10. Our objective is very simple: to ensure that African saving finance African growth, and that Africa can attract institutional investors from all over the world. This is how we will create jobs, accelerate industrial transformation, and build a more prosperous, resilient, and financially sovereign Africa. I thank you.
With your permission, Your Excellency, allow me to now call on the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury and National Planning, Honorable FCPA John Mbadi. A clap for him. He'll in turn invite His Excellency the President. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Dr. ATIDI, the President of African Development Bank, Mr. Admasu Tadese of TDB, and of course, the convener of this meeting, the actual convener of this meeting, of this gathering, Mr. Manuel Moses, the CEO of ATIDI, honorable members, honorable ministers of finance from ATIDI member states, the government representatives of the Republic of Kenya, and members of the diplomatic community, shareholders, the board of directors of ATIDI, led by the chairperson or the chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Your Excellency, allow me to extend a special welcome to our distinguished delegates who have traveled from across Africa and the globe to join us for this important occasion. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful that you have taken the time to be with us as Kenya hosts this significant gathering. That is the 26th Annual General Meeting of the African Trade and Investment Development Insurance. The government of Kenya sincerely thank our member states, shareholders, and board of ATIDI for giving us the opportunity to host the 26th AGM of ATIDI. This 26th Annual General Meeting is particularly significant as it coincides with an important milestone in the ATIDI's journey, that is 25 years of partnership, growth, and service to the African continent. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 25 years, ATIDI has evolved into Africa's leading provider of trade, investment, and credit risk insurance, spanning 24 member states and 13 institutional shareholders, while facilitating investments valued at over $93 billion across the continent. Indeed, ATIDI has become a symbol of what African countries can achieve when they work together with a common purpose and shared ambition. And this Silver Jubilee therefore gives us an opportunity not only to celebrate institutional progress, but also to reflect on the partnership, trust, and collective commitment that have sustained ATIDI's journey over the years. Kenya takes great pride in being a founding member state of ATIDI and the host of its headquarters here in Nairobi, which I am sure His Excellency the President will speak to in more detail. We remain committed to supporting the institution's continued growth and its important mission of advancing trade and investment across Africa. Today is not about presentations or reports or formal deliberation. Tonight is about celebrating how far we have come together, reconnecting with colleagues and friends, strengthening partnership, and appreciating the shared vision that continues to unite us as member states and shareholders of ATIDI. And tonight also provides us with an opportunity to share with you a taste of what Kenya is, our warmth, hospitality, culture, and vibrant spirit. So I don't want to go beyond that. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the rest of the discussion and engagement will start officially tomorrow. And I want to thank His Excellency the President for hosting this dinner and to come together and reflect as partners and as friends. Allow me at this juncture, without taking much more time, to now take this opportunity to ask us to put our hands together and welcome the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. If possible, we could rise as we welcome His Excellency the President.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Nairobi
for the 26th Annual General Meeting of the Africa Trade and Investment Development Insurance. Your presence here as member states, shareholders, development partners, and private sector leaders reflect our shared conviction that Africa's prosperity will depend on the strength of its own institutions and the depth of our partnership. 25 years ago, Kenya joined fellow COMESA member states to establish what was then the Africa Trade Insurance Agency. It was founded on a simple belief that Africa deserved institutions capable of transforming risk into opportunity and attracting investment on terms that reflect our true potential rather than outdated perceptions. Today, that belief stands vindicated. ATIDI has become Africa's premier institution, multilateral trade and investment insurer, supporting more than $93 billion in trade and investment while holding investment grade A ratings from both Standard & Poor's and Moody's. Congratulations, ATIDI. Yet, we gather at an extraordinary moment. The global economy is reordering. Trade is being reconfigured. Geopolitics is fragmenting, and development finance is under tremendous strain. These pressures are not perceptions, they are real. But they also present Africa with an unprecedented opportunity to redefine its place in the global financial system. For years, we have championed a fairer global financial architecture, one that stops mispricing Africa and African risk and making our capital needlessly expensive. That call remains right. I have been, as they have said, to every forum and every meeting, and I have stated our position unequivocally that we do not want a system that favors us. We want a system that treats all of us equally. And that is not too much to ask. But Africa cannot wait for reform from elsewhere. While the world debates reform, Africa must build. We must complement the reform of the global financial architecture by building a stronger African financial architecture, one that mobilizes African capital, mitigates African risk, and finances Africa's development on Africa's terms. The evidence is compelling. Africa holds nearly $4 trillion in long-term domestic savings through pension funds, insurance assets, and central bank reserves. Yet the continent faces an annual financial gap of more than $400 billion. We attract barely 1% of global institutional investment and only 4% of foreign direct investment. Even today, African countries borrow at rates between 200 and 400 basis points above their fundamentals and where the fundamentals justify. This paradox reveals a simple truth. Africa does not suffer from a shortage of capital. And that has been said by both the CEO of ATIDI and my good friend Sidi. We do not suffer from a shortage of capital. And I say so even when I specifically talk about our own country, Kenya. When I came into office, I championed and I explained to the people of Kenya why savings is important. In our National Social Security Fund, we had 312 billion Kenya shillings saved in 60 years. But in just 2 years, we have moved it from 312 to 680 billion. By next year, we will triple what we have saved in 60 years in 3.5 years. What does that mean? It means there is no shortage of capital. It is us getting organized and getting the resources we have organized and using it for our own development. So when we say there is no shortage of capital in our continent, that statement is very, very true. From my own experience, in just 3 years, I have seen how we can mobilize domestic resources. It is easy. Actually, it's not easy. It is difficult to go borrowing money from people. They subject you to all manner of things. You know, do this, go and pass this law. How about those things, what are those ones called? You go and pass the sexuality laws, go and do this, go and do this. You know, things that have nothing to do with the money you're looking for. But of course, you are subjected to such if you refuse to do what you have to do. Let me give another explanation. We decided as Kenyans that we are going to get rid of slums. We're going to work towards getting rid of slums. We're going to build a big portfolio of a housing program. It's been in our books for many years. We tried to borrow money from different places to implement the program, and it was not possible. It was not tenable. It was not practical. It was not sustainable. But we decided that we are going to put together a housing fund, and we are going to pay 1.5% of our incomes to that fund, and employers would do the same. Today, just in 3 years, we have built a portfolio of $9.3 billion. How much? $9.3 billion. That is 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings. Our own resources, Kenyan resources. So if there was any doubt in anybody's mind of our capacity to raise domestic resources, and for us to drive our development on our terms, please erase that doubt. And that is why this evening is very significant to me. When we had the Africa Forward Summit here last month, we made a conscious decision as leaders of this continent that we are going to rethink how we finance our development. We're going to work with partners, and we are immensely grateful for the World Bank, the IMF, IBRD, and all the other partners that have worked with us. They have walked this journey with us. But they have done so much. But there is space for us to do more ourselves. And we cannot delegate what we can do for ourselves for others to do for us. It is not fair to ourselves. It is not fair to them. We must do what we must do. And we made a very conscious decision and said, we must stop the blame game. We must stop blaming others for our own underdevelopment. And I remember one head of state saying that nobody owes us development. We owe it to ourselves. Development is first and foremost our responsibility as leaders in this continent. African development is first and foremost our responsibility. And we must take charge of it. It is easy to blame other people, especially for failures that have nothing to do with them, but everything to do with us. So we decided that we are going to do, that we took a position, which you remember, my good